go to scars.tv online and look up his name in the writing section, and there's a slew of things to choose from. I was going to read something of his, but then I thought I've just been writing stuff about him and me, and this is one long one, and thank you for listening. I woke up from a dream, pre-dawn, yesterday, after singing along words to a song. You have to let me go to the foreign shores. I now have to go to the nevermore. And I woke up realizing that song was about your wanting to die. I dreamt this right before your birthday, just bore I drive 2 days to say my final goodbye. And they say a person goes through 5 steps of grief after a loss of a loved one, but losing a God is not the same thing. So I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be stuck in this anger mode. I fought through my life, my entire life. You think I'm kidding, but I fought sexism and rape from firsthand experience because I've wrestled through this evil in the world. I feel like I can have a handle on just about anything. It may tear me apart, but that's what we fighters do. We fight, we win. So after meeting my sun god up close and in person, and then after nearly losing my life, literally, that's when this sun god, the one who's supposed to give us life, well, I think he gave up on telling me his struggles, and instead knew what I wrestled through and offered me a matching wrestling belt. I doubt it ever looked like luscious Leslie loves what he wore in his wrestling days, but you don't question these things when a God hands you a wrestling belt to say he knows your pain. But back in the day, before I discovered that he was a God, he came to me as a poet. And that's the important part. Because when this sun god gave me this wrestling belt, he very specifically said that we are now tag team poets. Like we were poets, taking turns, sharing our pain, then letting the other come in to carry the load so that we don't feel like we have to battle the world alone. Because, I've never worn this belt before. That would be sacrilegious. But now I think I have to leave this belt, maybe keep it behind my desk where I'm always working and looking for inspiration. I'm not a religious person. I've always relied on my mind because we poets don't have much else. But what I can tell you is that we can all be tired of our hearts breaking with the pain and the anger and the loss. And as I said, I still don't know how much longer I'm going to be stuck in this anger phase. But anger is supposed to be one of those things that's supposed to make us right, to make us poets thrive, to make us make sense of the world, to the world. But the survival instinct in each and every one of us, even us poets, and even, I thought, for the gods, is supposed to make you fight against the odds, against all odds. So I have to wonder, not knowing what a god goes through, what kind of pain a sun god must suffer through to decide when enough is enough. So maybe this is my bargaining, the stage after anger, to try, like Bill Clinton, to feel his pain, to be too depressed to make a difference before I accept my loss of my sun god. I suppose I can rationalize this all away, at least superficially. But as I said, us poets seem to thrive on that anger. So maybe, as cruel as this sounds, maybe we have to always remain just a little angry, because life is always just a little unfair. But oddly enough, it's just one painful way to remind us that we're still alive. Because we forget. We couldn't see. We didn't know. And there was nothing that we could do. That for so many years, he was dying inside. That's what happens to the sun. Remember your astronomy lessons. Even though this sun god we know and love burns so bright, we have to remember this and brace ourselves for when some stars have to die. Thank you. As I was saying, if anybody wants any of this writing, go to the web address of scars.tv. Click on writing, and there's this tab page, search for his name, and there's a ton of it. Because I was going to read something, I just thought, no, everybody can read it on their own. So thank you so much. Get on up here, and thank you.
Who wants to go next?
Oh, who's on the list? I'll be on the end. Who's up next?
Well, if I'm going down the list on the sign-up, Brian Daly is next.
Janet, you guys got another one? You want a couple of minutes of my time?
Well, I was just going to read the one, honestly.
I think we got time. What do you think, Alan?
I think we've got time. You're a publisher.
Yeah, and he was stunned by the fact that, and I had said I had published him in the early days, and he was so thrilled, and he's like, how can I thank you? And I said, start a magazine and publish me, and ergo Penny Dreadful. 93, 94, that's where that all started. And then he gave me this belt. And I'm like, we should take a picture together, and he's like, I can't put it around my waist. I'm like, well, all right. All right, I gave you the ending of the poem that you heard at the end of that, and I'm going to read that full piece for you. Just recently written, and this is called Our Ships Would No Longer Cross. I'm still a Chicagoan. Yeah, I'm hearing that. I'm always a Chicagoan. No, sorry. Anyway, our ships would no longer cross. It was tough trying to take the time to see him. But, you have to make time for a God. I hear that religion is an important thing. And when he moved farther away, and then I moved farther away, well, we said we'd make the effort, but you know how life gets in the way. Life gets in the way, they say, even for gods and poets alike. And although I know his pain in the past, he never spoke of it again until later. Once it was too far away to make a difference. So once, when I was traveling at great lengths to when my sun god happened to be closer to me, I contacted him, asked if I could make the trip to see him again, and he was curt. Cut me off. Told me no. I didn't understand his response. I just wanted to lose myself with the sun god one more time. And I was only told after his assisted suicide that his pain was so great that he cut everyone out because he became argumentative, belligerent. So maybe it's for the best that our ships could not cross one more time if I couldn't help this god and he would inadvertently hurt me in the process. I've been pushing it to the back of my mind. But I've been thinking about this lately, and I can't really get it out of my head anymore. Where is that point, that point of no return? And how does each and every one of us face it without losing our minds or just giving up? Then I wonder how many people have given up and not told anyone. They go through the motions when the pain is not so bad that they literally want to end their life. Then again, maybe some have given up inside without even reaching that breaking point. You see, this is why I try to avoid thinking about all of this. Now that I'm about to cry because of the injustices to my friend, to my poet, to my wrestler, to that sun god that we all, in a way, worship. We all think that in a way that light he gives us will help us give us life. But we forget, we couldn't see, we didn't know, and there was nothing we could do. That for so many years, he was dying inside. But that's what happens to his sun. Remember that in your astronomy class. After all that energy expulsion and the burning of hydrogen, they eventually run out of power. Just collapse. Some hate to think of the death of a star, but we've learned all about this. We should be prepared. And even though the sun god we know and love burns so bright, we have to remember this and brace ourselves for when some stars have to die. Longer version. Thank you very much. I have talked far too long, and I believe the next person up is in the absolute back of the room. I hope he's ready to share with us because I'd really love to have him. So please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Brian Daly. I don't know any songs to do. Filling some space.
Are you next?
Being passive aggressive, bro.
Just a logistical note, I don't have a running order. If someone wants to go, say so. Otherwise, I just pick it up and just